Good morning, grade 9 students. This is Miss Moni. Today we're going to continue chapter 4, DNA, the Code of Life, lesson 1, the genetic code. So please open your books to page 111. The objectives of the lesson. In this lesson, we are going to identify how the order of bases codes for proteins, and we are also going to explain how the DNA replication occurs. To recap, what forms the genetic code? The DNA contains the genetic information for cells to make proteins. Proteins determine a variety of traits, from hair color to an organism's ability to digest food. Parents pass traits to offspring through chromosomes. Chromosomes are made up of DNA and proteins and are located in the cell's nucleus. The DNA is made up of twisted ladder structure called the double helix. The rungs of the DNA are made up of nitrogen bases. These nitrogen bases are adenine, thymine, guanine, and cytosine. Chromosomes, genes, and DNA. Each gene is located at a specific place on a chromosome. Because there are so many possible combinations of bases and genes, each individual has a unique set of DNA. DNA can be found in all the body cells except of red blood cells because they lack nucleus. The order of the bases along a gene forms a genetic code that specifies what type of protein will be produced. Remember from previous lessons that proteins are long-chain molecules made up of individual amino acids. In the genetic code, a group of 3 DNA bases codes for one specific amino acid. For example, the 3-base code CGT always codes for amino acid alanine. The order of the 3-base code units determine the order in which amino acids are put together to form a protein. As you can see, the 3-base codes, each 3-base code forms an amino acid, then group of amino acids forms a chain to form one protein. DNA replication. 2 new cells or daughter cells result when a cell divides. To ensure that each daughter cell has the genetic information it needs to carry out the required activities, the DNA copies itself. DNA replication is a process in which an identical copy of a DNA strand is formed for a new cell. Replication is important since daughter cells need a complete set of DNA to survive. DNA replication begins when the 2 sides of the DNA molecule separate like a zipper unzipping between the nitrogen bases. Next, the nitrogen bases in the nucleus pair up with these bases on each half of the DNA. Because of the way the nitrogen bases pair up, the order of the bases in each new DNA strand exactly matches the order in the original DNA strand. As you can see in step 1, the nitrogen bases unzip, and then nitrogen bases from the nucleus come and pair up with the nitrogen bases on each side of the DNA, and finally we will have 2 identical sets of DNA. This pattern is the key to understand how DNA replication occurs. Adenine always pairs with thymine and guanine always pairs with cytosine. At the end of the replication, 2 identical DNA molecules are formed. This figure illustrates how the process of DNA replication occurs. Number 1, we have one DNA molecule. In the second step, the DNA strands unzip. In the third figure, we have the nitrogen bases from the nucleus that comes to pair up with the nitrogen bases on each strand of the DNA. The fourth step, the DNA molecules start to form. And the final step, we have 2 sets of DNA which are identical. As a conclusion, the DNA contains the genetic information for cells to make proteins. Parents pass traits to offspring through chromosomes. Chromosomes are made up of DNA and proteins and are located in the cell's nucleus. The DNA is made up of a twisted ladder structure that forms a double helix. The rungs of the DNA are made up of nitrogen bases. DNA replication is a process in which an identical copy of the DNA strand is formed for a new cell. DNA replication begins when the 2 sides of the DNA molecule unwind and separate, and then the nitrogen bases in the nucleus pair up with these bases on each half of the DNA. As an assignment for next time, please study pages 109 to 113 from the book. Complete figure 4, page 112, and do assessment exercises, page 113. Please check the slides below to highlight the required information on your books. Thank you.